Hey everybody, Doug here from Nostalgium Arcanum with a couple of quick announcements before we get into this week's episode on Die Hard. First, I wanted to let you know this is one of those episodes where, for technical reasons, we ended up having to use our Zoom audio, so there's a few little audio hitches here and there, but hey, don't worry about it. Just like John McClane, we are nothing if not scrappy and adaptable, and I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. But two other bigger announcements. First of all, our guest, Tarik Davis, is a filmmaker, as we talk about in the episode, and his short film, Doc, Race, Relativity, and the Confessions of a Time-Traveling Terrorist, is now out on YouTube. You can watch the entire thing, and so I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes so you guys can watch it. It is well worth your time. I've watched it myself this morning, and it is fantastic. Do yourself a favor and check that out. The other thing I want to let you know is as you're listening to this today, it comes out on December 18th, this Wednesday. I will be on an episode of our friend Dave Jackson's show, Tales from the Backlog. We will be talking about a classic video game, System Shock 2, which is, a really important and influential video game, and we get into all the really fun, weird minutia about it. So if you haven't had enough of my dulcet tones, please go check out that episode. It's a whole lot of fun for some bonus listening this week. So, all right, with that, let's start the episode. I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. 1, 2.
Hello, and welcome to Nostalgium Arcanum. I'm your host, Doug Leaf. Each episode of this podcast, we'll look back on the movies, TV, games, people, and phenomena that we still love talking about all these years later, and ask ourselves why these bits of pop culture still enchant us today. This week, we'll be revisiting... I believe it is Matthew 21:19 that says, "It is not truly Christmas until you've seen Hans Gruber take a dive off of Nakitomi Plaza." We're talking about Die Hard today, the ultimate Christmas movie, the ultimate action movie, so much so that for decades after this, every action movie was just simply referred to as Die Hard in a this or Die Hard on a that. This is one of the most foundational movies in multiple genres, but it is, of course, a Christmas classic, and I'm very glad we're talking about it today. And I'm talking about it. It wouldn't be a proper Die Hard movie if we didn't have a crew of people trying to achieve this objective. So first, he's been on the podcast many times before. Please welcome back to the show, Rich Baker.
Thank you as always for having me, Doug.
Glad to have you here. And and the other voice you're hearing is another returning guest. You heard him most recently on Ernest Goes to Camp. And before that, gosh, we did Blazing Saddles, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Please welcome back to the show, Tarik Davis.
Woohoo! Good to be here. Happy to talk about one of my favorite films.
Yeah, in fact, this is actually our second time sort of talking about this because, Tarik, you were on the old show, podcast, But Evil, and we did an episode, a Christmas special on our favorite Christmas villains, and this was your time to talk about Hans Gruber. So I know this movie is big for you. But before we even get into Die Hard, tell the audience about your short film, because I want to make sure that's put on their radar.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I made a short film called it's a science fiction film, kind of a slow burn talkie that takes a wild twist. It's called Doc, Race, Revolution, Relativity and the Confessions of a Time Traveling Terrorist. Um, Kind of apt for the moment we're living in right now. We're going to be announcing our online release very soon.
Cool, man. I can't wait to see the whole thing and share it with people because I just knowing your mind, how it works, and having seen the trailer for it, it just looks amazing. So,
Well, thank you, man. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
really
Yeah.
excited to see that. So, let's dig into our nostalgic memories of this movie. Rich, I'll start with you. I think this was your idea to bring Die Hard to the show. So, tell me your nostalgic memories of this film.
I don't remember when I first saw it, but it was probably within a year of it coming out. I definitely saw it on VHS at 9, 10 years old, something like that. And I immediately ranked it up there with all the other action movies that I liked, but this one had even more staying power than a lot of those, you know. And I guess one particular memory I have because we, you mentioned Christmas movie. So I'm in college. I've got a radio show with this other co-host, and she says, "Let's do top five." All right, cool. And for my number one Christmas movie, I said Die Hard, and the rest of the show became her arguing with me that it's not a Christmas movie. And this was kind of before social media was really a thing, and I just remember her taking it so personally that she valued the genre of Christmas movie so much that it hurt her for me to put this. But I will stand by it to this day. I think with every fiber in my being, if I believe in anything in life, Doug, it is that this movie is absolutely a Christmas movie.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. All it's missing is Santa Claus.
Yeah, we'll talk about the is it a Christmas movie thing in a little bit, but I want to put a pin in that because that is this movie is the lightning rod for the is it a Christmas movie or not debate that has been extended to many other films, but this is like the centerpiece of where people argue about it. But yeah, Tarik, tell me your nostalgic memories of this movie, the first time you saw it, and why you were so excited to talk about it. I guess with me a second time.
I feel like Die Hard, I'm sure for all of us, we're around the same generation. Late 80s, and my parents, we were the one house that had HBO and a VHS, right? So like my family would come over and like congregate, and we would like my uncles and cousins and my brother, and like we'd watch movies, and Die Hard was one of those events. It was almost like when my family come over to see a fight, which is funny. We're talking on fight night now. But rare occasions my family would have pay-per-view nights, and everybody would chip in to watch whatever fight. But Die Hard and a few other John McTiernan films were like event movies. Everybody's coming over and everyone's watching, and yeah, there were just so many like moments that my dad and my uncles like got into. Like, we loved Reginald Bell Johnson's character. A black family, everybody was rooting for him and his arc and story arc. And Bruce, I'm from Jersey, and Bruce Willis is a Jersey boy. And it's very clear he's a Jersey boy in that movie. And so I think that was like another underlying tone for us. It's like, plus it's like, and then, yeah, it's a Christmas movie. So like the families gathered together, we're watching like this incredible movie and rooting for both. I'm rooting for John McClane. I'm rooting for Hans Gruber. I'm rooting for Reginald Vell Johnson. I'm rooting for Argyle. Like it's got everything I want in a movie.
Yeah, this is a really special one. I'm pretty sure I saw Die Hard 2 first. I think I don't know if it was just because my parents did want me to see, something that's violent or R-rated around the time it came out. But I think I saw Die Hard 2 on TV. And so once I had seen that, it was like the seal was broken. And so my dad was like, "Well, if you liked that, let's watch the real thing." And immediately I was like, "Oh, this is way better." I like Die Hard too. It has its charms,
Sure.
but this is way better.
John Amos. It's got John Amos in it.
It does have John Amos, the late great John Amos. It's
The
got
late
Dennis
great.
Franz in it as a great character. But this would have I would have seen that in the early '90s. And this was right around the time, like I was just joking at the beginning, right? Like Speed was Die Hard on a bus, but like we got a slew of these imitators that were still pretty solid films that I was way into, and so getting this one into like yes, the progenitor film, like this is the best one. It remains the best one. often imitated, never duplicated. This is, you mentioned John McTiernan. This is our third John McTiernan movie we've covered on the show. We've done Predator previously, and we've also done the Thomas Crown Affair, which all, like, what a spectrum of radically different movies,
Yeah.
but all with this level of like polish and competence. But this is probably the best of those of his films. It's the one that obviously has the longest legacy, and such an amazing piece of like clockwork tension from top to bottom, because as you said, you're rooting for Bruce Willis, you're also rooting for Alan Rickman. And I think I said in that previous podcast, like, from Bruce Willis's point of view, this is he's a one-man army, right, against a group of terrorists. From Hans Gruber's perspective, it's a heist movie, and
Right.
you're enjoying both of those movies as they're happening simultaneously. It's very deft.
It does something that I don't see movies do, where every character in that film has an arc. Everyone has, like, even my man, who grabs the candy bar, like, there's everyone has a specific characterization, a specific way of speaking, a specific voice. Multiple characters have arcs, like a beginning, middle, and end, right? Like, and now I feel like movies are very top heavy, and you don't really get the fullness of, like, the background actors like having moments, background actors being really good actors. And like, like this movie, I've been saying his name a lot, but it made Reginald Vale Johnson. Like, there's no Family Matters or Urkel if not for Die Hard, right? And he
Right.
had
Yeah.
done a few things before that. He was in the Crocodile Dundee movies, and
Yep.
um playing a similar, like, ah, man, I want that guy to be my best friend, right? Like, but yeah, this movie, everyone has a moment. And yeah, it also, for me, just briefly going back to the nostalgia thing, I think I didn't understand what the action genre was until Die Hard. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
this is an action movie.
Yeah, Reginald Vell Johnson in this movie, he is, first of all, you need this character because you just need people for John McClane to talk to.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if he had very little dialogue. But he is so much like, I don't say he's the heart of the film, but he adds so much heart. The guy is just such a likable presence, and you put him up against all of law enforcement basically getting it wrong the rest of the movie, that like, it's a great formula. I only wish he was in the other movies. It's a shame that he's
Same.
not in 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He adds a lot.
He has a cameo in two.
Oh, okay. I don't, it's been a while since I've seen it,
Because yeah, John McClane calls LA from the airport, and
Oh yeah.
I think he's a captain at that point. He's been promoted, so he's got the desk job and he's safe. And but
Nice.
yeah, they kind of,
That's nice.
that's nice. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he got a promotion.
But yeah, Tarek, to your point, like there's tender love and care put in every character, right? And that's why every little moment, especially at the end when things pay off, it's not just paying off for the two big, leads. It's paying off for Bonnie Badine. It's paying off for like every individual criminal, and even the FBI and the cops. Like, even there, the FBI is not in this movie very much, but those two guys are so memorable with very little screen time.
Yeah. What is it? Robert Davi, you know, from, if you've seen Goonies, uh, Robert Davi. And I always forget the other Agent Johnson's name. Grant L. Bush.
Wow.
Grant L. Bush, the other Agent Johnson. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, they're great. I also forget that my man from Ghostbusters is in this,
William
playing another
Atherton.
smarmy. Yeah, like playing basically the same character, but he's such a good actor, and he's so of to hate him.
Yeah.
And he has like multiple scenes. Like, his arc is spread through the story and woven through Holly Gennaro's. That's who Holly Gennaro punches, right? Like, this she
Yeah.
knocks him out at the end. It's just like, yeah, everybody gets a moment. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's nice. He gets the punch in the face that you didn't get to give him in Ghostbusters.
Right. He
He,
gets
Retribution.
he gets slimed with marshmallows, but not quite the the comeuppance that he deserves.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of movie to cover, and I know, like I said, Tarik, come out to the coast, have a few laughs, because you're 3 hours ahead, representing John McClane's hometown here tonight in NYC. So let's get this going. So we start off with our plane. This plane lands in Los Angeles, carrying our hero John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, in his first real big action role of many. And he is given some sage but very, very unfortunate advice from the other guy sitting with him that says, when you're nervous in a new place, you should take off your shoes and make fists with your toes.
You don't like flying, do you?
What gives you that idea?
You want to know the secret to surviving air travel? After you get where you're going, take off your shoes and your socks. Then you walk around on the rug barefoot and make fists with your toes.
Fists with your toes.
I know. It sounds crazy. Trust me, I've been doing it for 9 years. Yes, sir. Better than a shower and a hot cup of coffee.
Okay. It's okay, I'm a cop. Trust me. I've been doing this for 11 years.
Behalf of the captain and crew, would like to welcome you to Los Angeles. Have a very Merry Christmas.
Just with your toes.
Yeah.
This is such a cool opening scene because it doesn't it obviously was the plot forward because he's landing in LAX, but you could easily hear a screenwriter today, thinking well, let's just start with him, at the lobby of the building or something. But we get a little bit of his personality, and we get this randomly very signature thing we've never heard of in a movie before, Fist with Your Toes, which is going to come into play later in such an important way that you can't possibly see.
Yeah. And Robert Lesser, I think, played the businessman, and I recognize him as the dad from Monster Squad. One of the dads, the kid has the mummy in the closet and he doesn't see him and makes his kid feel like shit. And it's just another great character actor, got the assignment and got his residual checks. So
Yeah. And it's great screenwriting because, yes, obviously this is a Chekhov's gun that the him being barefoot later is going to be important, but they slip it in a way where it feels like one of many jokes that's just these weirdos in California with their weird California shit. That's how it comes across. We don't know it's actually going to be, have an impact later. So yeah, good work on that. And as you said, Rich, this whole sequence as he goes through the airport, there's so much exposition being laid in here really efficiently that we tell, he's estranged from his wife. He's coming to visit her. He's got this big giant bear for the kids, but also he's smoking in an airport. He's got a gun. So he's a cop, but doesn't play by the rules. All that stuff is just given to you up front.
it's that's a weird thing of subverting it and not subverting it. Because I never watched that movie, the beginning of the movie, and go this guy's the action hero.
Yeah.
I'm he's a cop. He can handle himself. That guy kisses him and he's like, where am I? Right? What's going on? But he's not, he's not what we were used to with the Stallone Schwarzenegger archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, he's got more Indiana Jones DNA, which is he's a hero, but he's very scrappy and kind of getting by the skin of his teeth.
Right.
That makes him really relatable. As you said, he's not like John Wick, who they make him into that in later sequels where he never misses a shot and everything goes perfectly for it. No, almost nothing goes well for him. He's constantly beleaguered throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so we cut to the party at Nakitomi Plaza in Century City, a building that I'm sure, Rich, you and I have driven by a million times.
Yep, I've actually been in the lobby once.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, it's right in kind of the west side of LA. You can't miss it. It's,
Century City.
Yep, big and pink. So there's violins going. Takagi, who we understand is the CEO of this company, or at least the head of its American office, and he's giving a big speech to the troops about what a great year they've had. And Holly Gennaro, who we will find out pretty quickly is McClane's estranged wife. She's not really in on the party. She's still working late, and she gets hit on by Ellis.
Yeah. What's my man's name? Hart Wagner.
Yeah.
Like, just Ellis is an unsung character of Die Hard. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, deserved his fate, but just played to a T. Just swarmy at the time. I guess you would call him a yuppie.
Yeah.
LA yuppie businessman, cokehead, just clearly trying to, have relations with this cop's wife. It's just not a bad guy, but a bad guy.
Yeah, the typical 80s like douchey business guy.
Yeah.
Again, William Atherton is in this movie playing a douchebag, and this guy out douches him.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. Real like the 80s in a suit is what this guy is. Like, yeah, just so gross.
Sure.
But I just feel like he's also having a ball playing this role.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, every scene, I'm just gonna really like just hammer home what a douchebag this guy is. Just, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And there's some phone calls here back and forth. She calls home to the housekeeper, and they're basically trying to figure out, like, is John actually even coming for Christmas? And if so, like, where is he staying? Like, none of these logistics have been worked out, which again tells you a bit about the state of their family. But she does have that photograph of the four of them, including John, which will be, again, important later, that she does have this photo of John on her desk. So, again, really efficient. They make this count. It's not just like, oh yeah, that they're telling you he's their family. That photo will actually come into play as part of the action plot.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great storytelling.
Yep.
Tight.
So John is on his way out of the airport, and he meets his ride driven by Argyle.
Like I said, you're very fast, Argyle. You mind if we hear some tunes? Hey, that'll work. You got any Christmas music? This is Christmas music.
And it's time for some Run DMC as we make our way to Nakitomi Plaza.
Yeah. I love this scene because it's like Argyle. My brother was 9 years older than me, so he's around Argyle's age. So it was like watching my brother in a movie. And you see like John McClane being uneasy, also being a cop with this young black teenager. But halfway through the ride, it's like, you're all right, Argyle. Like, it's just like, all right, these guys are gonna be pals. And yeah, it's like, I feel like a less confident screenwriter, less confident filmmaker, actors, that would have remained contentious. But there's a win for the audience. And like, no, these guys are likable, and let them like each other. Let us like them. And I feel like that's a lesson that can be taught a lot more today. Not to be old man raising fists at, the clouds with today's films, but I'm like, oh, I like these guys. I don't want anything to happen to them. I'm gonna ride with them. Like, I think that's an important lesson.
Yeah, they also do kind of some man of the people stuff with Bruce Willis here, because he's not riding in the back of the limo where people normally ride. He's riding in the front seat.
Yeah.
Because this is his first time in a limo, and he just feels like he's more comfortable up there having this social interaction with Argyle than he would be sitting in the back like a big mucky muck.
Yeah, and I love that bonding moment of like, I've never been in a limo. I've never, it's his first time driving a limo. It's his first time being in a limo.
Yeah, it's great. And he's nosy. So we get some great exposition just because this kid's, you get it. Like, oh yeah, he's a nosy kid. He's trying to get a tip. And so tell me, what's going on with you and your wife, right? Ask a lot of questions, Argyle. Like,
he says he used to be a cab driver, right? He would be more nosy and talkative than a limo driver. And so they pull up to Nakatomi, and Bruce Willis gets out, and Argyle tells him, hey, I'm just going to hang around in the parking structure because we'll see how your interaction with your wife goes. If it goes well, we'll drive you to her house or whatever, and if it doesn't, I'll find you a hotel. But I'll just hang around in the parking garage for a while. And boy, is he going to hang around in the parking garage for a while. So John goes in. He talks to the security guard. He takes note of several things while he's there. He notes that Holly is in the system under her maiden name, which is kind of a burn. And at some point, we don't really notice him noticing this, but he apparently takes stock of all the names on the board of everyone who works there, because that'll come up later.
Yeah.
He's kind of got a Sherlock Holmes, like in another movie, just an actually really good detective.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing to keep in mind that we would never think of nowadays, especially when we watch it the first time, but like they didn't have this kind of technology anywhere in the 80s. So like when you were watching this, it's almost like it was like RoboCop. You're like, what's he even doing? And it was weird to his character too.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like, this was like the future, watching Nakatomi building names and databases, and like now it's so weird how this is commonplace now.
Yep. So he notices that everybody's gone. The entire building is empty except for the 30th floor where Holly works, because it's their office Christmas party. And so he goes up. He kind of walks in the party. He sticks out like a sore thumb because he's very underdressed compared to everyone else. And he meets Takagi. We find out Takagi was the one who booked the limo for him. So like Takagi's a good guy. Like everything we find out about him is like he's the good businessman.
Yes.
They even put in some like history about Takagi. He's a Japanese American, but like, we talk about internment camps, and like this guy really he's the head of the corporation because he's really had to fight against the system that was against him.
For the brief time you spend with him, they let you know like this is a man who started from nothing and like really made something of himself. He has an immense like roster of great accomplishments.
Economic storytelling makes us really like him, which is going to come very soon.
Right.
And
it's
it
like,
also,
this guy's a great boss.
Yeah, and they also try to like. I mean, I know that we'll find out that Hans Gruber really doesn't have a political agenda. That's a smokescreen that he has one, but the smokescreen is kind of in opposition to Takagi, which is this idea of like these rich fat cats or whatever, blah blah blah. But you contrast about this is a very decent person who like worked hard and earned what he has and treats his employees with great kindness. Like it's it's a nice contrast to the bullshit that Hans is spewing.
Yeah.
So John is led to Holly's office where Ellis is kind of just parked himself to do some coke. And I like that even though McClane's a cop, he doesn't bust him on it, but he's just like, hey, you missed some. There's some on his lapel or whatever.
Right.
And so Holly comes in. He's glad. They're glad to see each other. I think Ellis tries to say something about like, oh, show him your Rolex.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What a
but it's so great. It's just like, and he, of course he feels inadequate after being busted with the coke in his nose, and John McClane's swole. Like he's not, he's even like kind of trying to size himself up with John McClane. It's such great physical performance.
Yeah. So we have a scene with this. They don't actually have very many scenes together, but we have Bonnie Bedelia as Holly and have her moment here with John as like they're trying to reconcile, but it kind of leads to bickering, and we get a sense of like why things aren't working. But basically, she was offered this opportunity in California she felt she had to take, and that has put an immense strain on their marriage because John has not been interested in moving out to LA to be a cop here. And so now they're this bi-coastal separated family.
I guess you didn't miss my name, though, huh? Except maybe when you're signing checks. Since when did you start using Ms. Gennaro?
It's a Japanese company. They figure a married woman's got.
You are a married woman, Holly. You're married to me.
We're gonna have this conversation again. We did this in July.
We never finished this conversation in July.
I had to take
right. No matter what the consequences, no matter what it did to our marriage,
it
you had
didn't
to
do
take
anything
this
to our marriage
opportunity.
except maybe change your idea of what our marriage should be.
I think you have a clue as to what my idea of our
I know
marriage should
exactly
be, Holly.
what your idea of our marriage should be.
Miss Gennaro, excuse me. Mr. Takagi is looking for you. He wants you to say something to the troops.
Thank you. Speech time. Be back in a few minutes.
That's great, John. Good job. Very mature.
It also shows her strength a little bit because, when the minute he starts to get petty, like she pushes back immediately, like she's got healthy boundaries clearly, and she's not going to take too much shit.
Yeah. As they get older, this scene starts to become my favorite scene, or one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like when I was a kid, I didn't quite, I was just like, get to the bang bang, shoot 'em up stuff. And now as a grown adult, and you see the way Holly looks at John, and John looks at Holly, and you see this longing, and then they both get in their way. And it's just like, oh man, it's in an action movie. It's a very beautiful, like touching scene about relationships and adult relationships.
So let's get to the bang bang because that's what's about to happen. So Holly is dragged away by Takagi to go. They want her to go give a speech to the troops. So John is left just kind of chilling in this room by himself. Meanwhile, this big rig truck drives up and into the parking structure, and a sedan pulls up out front containing Hans Gruber and I think his name is Theo. They're this hacker character who's like he's almost from another movie. This guy, he's so broad and like he's this wild cartoonish hacker guy that they brought in. I love this character because it's amazing.
Clarence Gilliard, from some people may remember, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yep.
The late Clarence Gilliard passed away. I always wanted to know what he based this character on, because hacker culture, for me anyway, I'm like, it wasn't, this is way before the internet, and like hacker culture was like a very, very niche community. What did he base this on?
Yeah.
What did he base this characterization on? I gotta know, because this guy's a sports fan. He's really energetic. Maybe would be classified as being on some kind of spectrum today. Like, there's so much going on with this guy, and yeah, it feels both authentic but also invented.
Yeah, and it's so fun. Like, and as a kid, I mean, he was my favorite guy to like imitate.
Yeah. And the quarterback is toast. Like, it's just like, that guy.
There's a lot of acting choices here in terms of just the way he delivers text. I don't know how many takes they did of this and how it was edited together. Was it always this way? Was it invented on set? Like, I'd love to find an interview with him to figure out like how, because he fits the tone of the movie, but just barely. Like, he's very cartoonish compared to the rest of the characters, but like in a way that just makes him distinctive. He doesn't like break the movie. But he's right up to the line.
Yeah. Clearly a late addition to the Hans Gruber team. Like
the rest they're all Germans. The rest of the team are like all Germans, like Hans Gruber. And then you have this like African American cartoon man who how did he get hooked up with Hans? Like, what's the backstory? Like, they don't get into any of that, but it's,
I mean, I'd watch a prequel of like how, like, just focusing on that. Absolutely.
No problem. Building of the team, that would be a dope movie.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
Yeah, and so they go in, and as you said, they're kind of like talking sports, and like immediately, like just seamlessly into violence. The guards are taken out. The other crew pops out of the truck in the basement. They're going to go cut the phone lines. The heist is on very quickly. Cut to John making fists with his toes, faithfully making fists with his toes.
I did want to go back for a second of just because that's also where we're first introduced to Hans Gruber. And there's a great YouTube video just breaking down that scene of his entrance into the Nakitomi building and like the commanding level of acting performance that Alan Rickman gives, of how like he clearly establishes, not through dialogue but through physical action and his eyes, he's the leader. He's making economic choices about like he doesn't have much time, but he also owns the building. And every time I watch that scene of him coming out and like he doesn't have to look around a lot, he knows who his team is, he knows their jobs, he is the leader, he is the brain. Also, this building, and like he touches everything, and it's just like, oh yeah, he owns this building in his mind. It's just like a great Alan fucking Rickman.
Oh yeah,
ending up on applause.
Originally, they were outfitted in tactical gear, and Alan Rickman said no. And they were like, "What do we know?" And he goes, "I'm going to look ridiculous wearing this." And it's like, instead of goons, we should look like we're models. And so that's why you had these bad guys, but they were dressed like these, erudite European people.
Yeah, it's and bravo for him saying that, and bravo for John McTiernan and the team listening.
Yeah,
it's iconic, and I think it would have been forgettable if they were just like, yeah, a bunch of goons in tactical gear, and like them coming in, they're like, oh, this is clearly like a German electronic band, like just about to wreck up.
Yeah, Kraftwerk is here to wreck shop. But like you used a word, Tarik, to describe Hans Gruber, and I think it applies to Alan Rickman as a just his oeuvre, which is economical. Like the man doesn't waste a beat of physical action, and not just in this movie, but whether he's playing Professor Snape in Harry Potter, or he's in Love Actually, or like anything you've seen him in. Every single choice feels as if it was just like almost animated by, but frame by frame. Like he's so precise in everything he says and does, and it adds so much to the character.
Yeah, it really does. And it's a perfect foil for our hero, who, as we said, is scrappy and just getting by his tea, and like isn't as thought out, isn't as planned or put together. And it's just like, it's a perfect yin and yang.
Yeah. Well, things escalate quickly because John he's on the phone. He's trying to call Holly. He's trying to call Argyle when the lines are cut, and he senses something's up. And before he can do anything, he hears the sound of gunfire as the squad invades the Christmas party, guns blazing. And he is, basically trapped in Holly's office trying to figure out what to do. He manages to avoid and take out one goon and make his way out of the office and into the like a stairwell. And he's just racing around trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Gruber gives a big speech to the Nakitomi employees, basically telling them, "Here's what's going on. Bring me Takagi."
Yeah. I get a pit in my stomach just even you hearing you say that. It's like, oh man, this doesn't go well for him. It's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that like there's like going to be this like I'm Spartacus thing with Takagi, but it doesn't last long because as we'll see in a minute, he'll just step up because he's gonna do the right thing.
It's also an indication that because as Hans Gruber gives this speech and like he's reading and he's talking about Takagi and went to Harvard and like he's all running down and it's like, oh yeah, you've done your research.
1955. Law degree, Stanford. 1962. MBA, Harvard. 1970.
President Nakitomi Trading, Vice Chairman Nakitomi Investment Group.
Enough. These guys aren't. It's not that they're stupid. They know everything.
Yeah.
And it's such a intimidating moment. And for when he finally stands, and then he gives this like quick look like a shark at Takagi and house. Oh, pleased to meet you. And it's just like really fucking off-putting.
Yeah. Yeah. This is bad guy, Hall of Fame stuff right here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get John kind of running around again, kind of in the stairwells, like in between floors stuff. He's sort of getting glimpses of the goons and what they're doing. He sees they have a box that's labeled like guided missiles. So like serious shit is about in this office building. And so we get to the big scene with Takagi and Gruber. And Gruber, starts with, and Alexander wept because there were no more worlds to conquer. As he's like speechifying, but he like all of his, like even this like bloviating is to a purpose.
And when Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. Benefits of a classical education. Oh, that's beautiful. I always enjoyed to make models when I was a boy. The exactness, the attention to every conceivable detail. It's beautiful.
Is this what this is all about? Our project in Indonesia? Contrary to what you people may think, we're going to develop that region, not exploit it.
I believe you. I read the article in Forbes. Mr. Takagi, I could talk about industrialization and men's fashions all day, but I'm afraid work must intrude, and my associate Theo has some questions for you. Sort of fill in the blanks questions, actually.
Because he doesn't mean any of this shit. What he really wants is for Takagi to give up some the codes so he can start the process of getting through these 7 locks that lead to $640 million in bearer bonds they keep in their safe.
Yeah. And
I love that it ends with Takagi's like, "What kind of terrorists are you?" And he's like, "Who said we were terrorists?
Who said we were terrorists?"
Yeah.
I simply don't have those numbers.
Yeah.
That's good.
And he also tells you something that's like, again, like any great heist movie, like whether it's Ocean's 11 or Sneakers or this, Takagi's like, well, what are you going to do? Even if I give you the code, there's 6 more locks behind it. Like, it's not going to do you any good. And he's like, let us worry about that.
Yeah.
Like it's, we have all that planned out. Yeah. Great stuff. And meanwhile, John is sneaking closer and closer to where this is happening. But John, he makes a quick noise. Goons are running, and there's shots. And like John's like, "Oh, I hope Argyle heard all the gunfire." And they cut to Argyle. He's just blasting music and having a good time. 30 stories down in the basement. He's not hearing any of this.
Probably didn't hear that.
I always want to know who Argyle was on the phone with. Like, he is having the conversation of his life as all this chaos is going on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or what, but like, it's a great quick bit, but it's very funny. And this movie does a good job of that. Like, it is a very funny movie. Like they know how to ride the gear shift between comedy and tension and action and perfectly. Absolutely. That's kind of John McTiernan's gift.
Yeah.
It really is.
So we get the rundown is it's gonna take a certain amount of time to break through all of these locks. That basically the password that they got from Takagi gets you past lock 1. The other 6 they're just gonna brute force their way through, mostly, except for the last one, I think.
Yeah.
So we get John monologuing to himself about why he didn't stop Takagi from being shot in the head. Then you'd be dead too, asshole. Like it's very funny. then he gets a bright idea. He says, I'm going to pull the fire alarm, and that'll trigger first responders, and they'll do something. And I love that, like, this has already been planned for by the terrorist as John watches them approach the building and then turn around and go away.
We've got a fire alarm.
Call 911. Give them the guard's name and the building code number and cancel the alarm. Then disable the system. Eddie, on what floor did the alarm go?
Now, shall we go? 9.
Oh, baby, come to Papa, come on. Baby, come on, baby, come to Papa. I'll kiss your fucking Dalmatian. Oh, you stupid motherfuckers! No, no! Turn the fucking truck around!
Yes.
Gonna have to try harder than that, McClane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because they call 911 themselves and just basically tell them, it's a false alarm, don't worry about it. Whatever they say to call them off.
Yeah.
And we get our first big kind of mano-a-mano fight between John McClane and this tall German guy.
Right.
I love that he's a cop. You're not going to kill me. Cops have to follow the rules. And so he's like, whatever. So they fight, and then he falls, and like they both go tumbling down the stairs. And the German guy just snaps his neck, I guess, in the process. John's fine.
Really makes me long for fight scenes. Sorry, I'm raising my fist to the clouds again. Talk about modern day filmmaking, but really makes me long for like fight scenes that aren't super choreographed.
Yeah.
Or everyone really everyone knows. Like, I love the John Wick films. Sometimes I'd rather you just you're figuring out how to fight as you fight. I love that stuff.
Sure. This movie's great at that. No, there's no super clean fighting in this movie.
No.
None. Yeah. Everything is, knock down, drag out, just clumsy, real world kind of fisticuffs.
Yep.
Yeah. Packed with emotion.
Yeah. So they start drilling through the locks. That's the plan. We come back to John. He's got the dead German guy, and he takes off of his person a walkie-talkie, a cigarette lighter, an ID. He tries for the shoes, but they are too small. So that doesn't help him. And so he kind of jerry-rigs the elevator to send something down in it. We'll see what that is in a minute. But I love this kind of adventure game logic. It's like point and click adventure. I got to click on the dead body and take all of the items off of him because they're going to be important later in the game.
Yeah.
Gotta loot the body, man.
Yeah.
So now we get
you get a bit of the devilish part of who John McClane is because he sees the markers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's not, Schwarzenegger's not stopping to do that, right? In an action,
right? Yeah.
Stallone's not stopping to do that. Bruce Willis, he's from Jersey.
He's a little snarky. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to fuck with these guys. Like he's there's no stopping that because we get this great scene where Gruber comes out. He tells all the employees that Takagi is dead. We are in charge. Blah blah blah. And then the elevator opens and they all are like, "What the fuck is this?" Leading to, "I have a machine gun. Her.
I wanted this to be professional, efficient, adult, cooperative. Not a lot to ask. Alas, your Mr. Takagi did not see it that way, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. We can go any way you want us. You can walk out of here or be carried out. But have no illusions. We are in charge. So, decide now, each of you. And please remember, we have left nothing to chance.
Get them back. It's not mine. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Brilliant delivery, brilliant line.
Yes.
Yeah, what a great just fuck you message from John McClane. It was like, I've written it in marker on this dead goons sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Whatever. This Christmas stuff, I mean, obviously there's no reason the movie has to be set at Christmas, but what's interesting is, so this movie is based on a book called is it Nothing Lasts Forever is the name of the book. And the book is like this film set at Christmas time. And there was some discussion about that. And I know the author of the book, and I think John McTiernan were both like simpatico on, yeah, we want to keep that. Like, keep it. We need to keep Christmas as part of the theming of this movie. And yeah, as you said, you guys both said this is a Christmas movie. And I think it is because of all of this stuff. Like you could absolutely make the movie, it would still be pretty good if you didn't have the Christmas stuff in it. But it adds just this great patina of like just a little extra something that there's, Christmas carols in the elevator, or, there's, there's tinsel everywhere and stuff. There's Christmas trees, going on.
Yeah. People kissing under the mistletoe and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So John takes an elevator shaft ride out of there. And Carl, the brother of the dead German guy, who we'll see a lot of, he's out for blood now. He wants revenge. Because he's apparently seen Die Hard 3, and he knows when you kill a German terrorist, his brother comes after you.
Yeah. It's a rule of nature.
Right.
Yeah.
So Gruber
he's
talks.
Apparently the wild card in the German band. Like, everyone's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like of all of the German guys, this guy's the most like was it Autobahn from The Big Lebowski? Like, yeah. Girlfriend gave up a toe. Thought we would get $1 million. So
Great line delivery coming from you, right? Like the accents.
Thank you. So Ellis and Holly they're talking, and she knows that John is out there running around and is behind the dead goon. But Ellis is real nervous that John is going to do something to rock the boat that gets them all killed, which that's a fair criticism. But then, she's like, yeah, well, tell it to Takagi. Like, Ellis, as we'll see, is a shitbag. And, much more of a shitbag than we thought he was.
Yes. But also naive. It's like the worst combination of like shitbag, thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room. Also naive about what is actually happening.
Yeah.
So John goes up to the roof. He tries to signal the authorities with his walkie-talkie. And the goons overhear that because obviously that channel is open to them too. And this is when we get this, like, he's like talking to the 911 dispatchers.
Mayday, mayday. Anyone copying Channel 9? Terrorists have seized the Nakitomi building and are holding at least 30 people hostage. I repeat, unknown number of terrorists, 6 or more, armed with automatic weapons at Nakitomi Plaza, Century City.
What's the best place to transmit?
Somebody answer me, goddammit.
The roof. Go, go!
It's the same address as that fire signal.
I'll handle it.
Attention, whoever you are, this channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
No one kills him but me.
They have already killed one hostage. They are fortifying their positions while you're jerking me off on the radio. Now send the police
Sir,
back
I've
up
already
ASAP.
told you, this is a reserved channel. If this is an emergency call, dial 911 on your telephone. Otherwise, I'll have to report this as an FCC violation.
Fine, report me. Come the fuck down here and arrest me. Just send the police now.
This is like, there's a few times where like law enforcement is so dumb that it kind of boggles the mind of like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, this is a private channel. If you call 911, and she's like, fuck, lady, like there's machine guns down here. Do something. And she's like, well, I don't know. We got to follow protocol.
Yeah. It's another one of those small parts, but cast and director really knocked it out of the park with this film.
It's a trend that continues throughout these movies. Like, as Die Hard 2 also, you have Dennis Franz in there as, like, again, like the cop who's always wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big part of these action movies. I've always liked that, of like, everyone's an idiot except this one guy, and he's got to go figure out how to maneuver through everyone's doubt and everyone's stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the thing where no matter what it is, the cops are always like, it's nothing. It's pranks. These dumb kids.
Yeah, well,
I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
We talked about that with Killer Clowns. It's like, I see, Killer Clowns. It's like,
yeah.
Maybe the first time you hear Killer Clowns over the radio, you don't think, but when you start getting like thousands of frantic calls, and you're a little like, no, I don't need to do my job. Right. The goons assemble to try and chase down John, and they find him. I mean, they start shooting at him while John is on the phone to the police.
Yeah.
So you would think that is enough to get their attention. And so he like slides down the roof, and like he manages to get away from this current firefight and out of sight. And that's enough to trigger these cops to go, well, see if there's a black and white in the area that can go do a drive-by. And we cut to Officer Carl Winslow. I know his name is Al Powell in the movie. However, his real name is Officer Carl Winslow.
Absolutely.
As it always will be, forever and ever. Stocking up on snacks, which he lies and says they are for his pregnant wife. Actually, he does have a pregnant wife, he reveals later in the movie. So he may not be lying about this.
But even that cashier is just like, sure, right? Like that was somebody who auditioned and nailed that part.
Yep.
So Carl Winslow decides, all right, I'll go to Nakatomi and check things out. John basically shoots his way into like the ventilation system in the movie, in the building. And he goes through this room. There's like a big like Playboy centerfold taped over some equipment, which I'm only mentioning because like we don't get a great sense of the geography inside the guts of Nakatomi Plaza, but that will help us orient ourselves because he's going to come back to the spot later.
Yeah.
So that's why that's there. And he goes through this thing where like they're chasing him, and he pops out like a screen or some kind of like a panel, and there's just this death drop, 30 floors. And when he takes his machine gun, uses it as like a way to like brace himself, takes the shoulder strap and basically uses it to rappel over to a nearby ledge, which he successfully does, but loses the gun in the process. So like just a great, like super tense moment of like physicality from Bruce Willis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it adds such stakes to like the building is dangerous. It's like he's not just contending with the terrorists, criminals, but he's also contending with this, for him, unknown territory, right? He's a New York street cop, and now he's trying to be Spider-Man in this like modern, this modern, like you said, RoboCop kind of building. And I remember, that gave me sweaty palms as a kid, that scene.
The whole thing is, it's just, again, they keep showing that he's not superhuman. He's a little skilled, and he gets lucky a lot in this movie, and that's where your heart skips a beat every time.
Yeah.
And he does have ingenuity. Like that's on his side. Like, the idea of using the gun in this way to enable him to escape, it costs him the gun, but obviously he manages to get away and evade his capture or death. So like it's still a character building thing of like, oh, that was really clever that he managed to use the gun as basically a grappling hook,
right,
to do this. So
it leads to the iconic scene,
the shot of him in the vent with the lighter.
Yes.
Yeah. This is like one of the most memorable shots of him, right? He's facing camera. He's got the lighter, and he says that line, come out to the coast. We'll get together and have a few laughs. But it leads to a great. And then this leads to a great like action, like cat and mouse thing is like they're like the goons are like poking the vents and the duct to like, shooting at them. Like, they're going to find him. They're going to kill him. But something draws their attention and they leave. And that something is Carl Winslow, who is now at the base of the building and is going to go check things out. So John takes this opportunity to get out through the duct. He goes back to the room where Takagi was killed, the big conference room, and he watches Winslow pull up. And he's trying to hopefully like, oh, good. Hopefully this is going to work. This is going to draw some attention. But it doesn't, because the goons are very good at pretending to be guards and everything's boring and fine. And they just lead him around for a while until John has no choice, as Carl Winslow is going to back up and drive away, but to throw, basically bust out a window and throw a dead goon onto his the hood of his car.
Sorry to waste your time.
No problem at all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Dum-da-dum, delightful. For the love... 8 Lincoln 30 to dispatch.
8030, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakitomi Plaza. Everything here is okay. Over. But nobody has no guns to know. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, God, everything is a
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, I was convinced it was Huey Lewis who was the guy in the lobby who was just like, everything's cool. And I was like, man, look at him singing and acting.
Really proud of him.
Really proud of him.
Yeah.
But speaking of Huey Lewis acting, my favorite Huey Lewis acting thing, Weird Al did a parody of American Psycho. If you've never seen this, it's really fucking hilarious, because Huey Lewis basically plays the Patrick Bateman role, and he's playing the music, the Huey Lewis music, and talking about how great Sports was as an album and how it's underrated. And then his plan is to tie up Weird Al and hack him to bits. It's very funny if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
So
I'll check
just
it out.
recommendation for a quick 3-minute YouTube video.
Nice.
All right. So this, again, Winslow freaks out. He like drives backwards, like kind of off a bridge into a ravine. And welcome to the party, pal. Speaking of partying, that's what Argyle is doing. He's still just having a good time in the basement. And William Atherton, this is where we finally meet him. Again, Walter Peck from Ghostbusters. He hears we understand he's a journalist, and they're listening to like the police radio, where he hears Winslow freaking out and like gunfire, and that's his cue to go like, all right, I better snap into action.
Yeah. Even in the 80s, we were kind of cognizant of like, what the media was becoming, right? Like, right on the hinges of like before the 24-hour news network, like the cravenness of the media to see blood and gore. It's a nice little commentary in this film.
Yep. So the cops begin descending on Nakitomi. Now it's the threat is now too big to ignore, and we think, oh, good, they're going to be here. That's what John wanted. He just needed to get attention and backup. But no, because Gruber tells everybody this is inconvenient timing. It's inevitable and necessary. This is simply the beginning. Like, this is also part of his plan that the cops are going to show up. Like, brilliant way to work this into your heist.
Yeah.
Unflappable.
And this leads to our first call between John and Hans Gruber over the walkie-talkies. I love this, just like the beginning of the cat and mouse between these two.
Yeah.
Mr. Guest. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Unless you want to open the front door for me.
No, I'm afraid not. But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child? Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-Kay-Yay, motherfucker.
Which ends in the most famous of all the famous lines. Yippee-Kay-Yay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Still my favorite.
Marshall Roy Rogers.
Yeah, like he says, they call out the fact that like, oh, you think you're like a movie action star, and he says, no, I'm Roy Rogers, right? The comedian.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if this was region specific growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but when you would see Die Hard on like a basic cable channel, instead of motherfucker, they would say Yippee-Kay-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
I've heard that.
And,
yeah, I've heard. Yeah, they did it. I remember watching Die Hard 2, where at the very end, he goes, Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon. I sat there scratching my head like, I watched this whole movie. Who the fuck is Mr. Falcon?
Yeah. Me and my friends would say that to each other a lot. It's like, you Mr. Falcon. It's great.
So you could have said anything. You just bleep it, anything. But Mr. Falcon is terrible.
Mr. Falcon.
It's almost more offensive.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be a slur for like just a group. I'm not sure which one. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I would be more offended if he's up yours, Mr. Falcon.
What'd you call me? Yeah.
Was that a teacher you had? Like, now I'm offended.
So Atherton wants to chase the story. And the news folks won't let him, but he talks him into letting him do it. He'll take truck 5 and get out of here. So the goons go report the other dead goons to Hans, and we find out the real problem is that one of these dead goons had the detonators on him, which now John is in control of. And so
that is a point of failure for this plan. They need those detonators.
Right.
Yeah. Get me those detonators.
So Officer Winslow calls for help, and John responds. And so now we get the first contact really between them. But even though they still have to be careful because the goons could be listening in. And so he says, just call me Roy. But he tells him everything else he needs to know. Here's how many goons there are. There's hostages. They've got everything. And that sets everything up now for their relationship going forward.
Yeah. And it is a relationship. Like, it's a real romance. Like,
oh yeah,
guys, fast and hard. And
we didn't have the term bromance back then. This was it.
This was it. Like, it's such a. I think he's a cop. Call it a hunch. Like, it's fucking.
Yeah,
love it.
Well, as he said, Winslow is going to have to defend that bromance because his superiors arrive from the LAPD. And they're like, who are you talking to? Who's this guy? Fair questions about how do you know this guy's trustworthy and not just another one of these goons trying to lead you around by the nose. They don't have the omniscient knowledge that we have. And so, yeah, as you said, he says, like, I think he's a cop. It's a hunch, right? They're all like, give me a fucking break, a hunch.
And another great actor we get to meet, Paul Gleason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just perfect casting again. Like, I can't, the phrase is forgetting me, but like the fortune they have with all these actors to be in one film, it's just incredible.
Yeah. And Gleason, Paul Gleason, I think his other role that he's probably best known for is he's in The Mask with Jim Carrey. He's the police officer in that.
He's a Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot he was in that too. So Holly wants to make a request to Hans, and I love this. Like, who reported you were in charge? And she's like, you did when you killed Takagi. And he kind of respects that. And she's like, listen, we have a pregnant hostage, and she's, could we put her in the room with the couch so she can lie down? And he's like, no, but I'll have a couch brought out to you. Like, this is gentleman Hans Gruber, who's going to be reasonable and acquiesce to her demands and stuff, which is interesting because we know his plan ultimately is to just kill all these people anyway.
Yeah.
But for now, he's going to try and avoid I guess, panic or, disruption. So he's just sure.
This is such a good scene. Jack, you said, seeing it as an adult, you say it differently. I remember rewatching this a few years ago and just really seeing Bonnie Badia's performance and like, she's this tough New Yorker and she's negotiating with this terrorist and she's not backing down. And, she's obviously not shooting anyone, but she's just as tough as John McClane mentally.
Absolutely. You get why they're married to each other. Like, and how, and it's also clear, she's the leader. If Mr. Nakatomi is not there, she's the leader, and everyone in that building knows it.
Yeah, and as we said, we see her cleverness too. She's smart enough when her name is asked, she says Gennaro, not Holly McClane.
Sure.
She's smart enough to do that.
And there's Gruber, he like, you could see the respect.
Yeah.
Of like, if any other day, I might, buy you a drink, but like right now, I see that you're as shrewd as I am in some way, and I respect that.
Right. So the reporting by William Atherton's character is Thornburg. He begins reporting on what's going on at Nakatomi Plaza, and Argyle overhears the broadcast. So now he's finally aware of what's been going on in the building above him.
Mm-hmm.
And Winslow is asking Gleason, do you guys really want to go in right now? Are you sure you want to just storm the building? What are you guys doing? And again, now we get like the disbelief that makes no sense, where he's just like, whatever, it could be anything. He's like, what about the corpse that fell on my car? He's like, probably some stockbroker was killing himself. It's like that level of disbelief, really? Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
And so they start shining floodlights on the building, these big, bat signal floodlights, and that makes John real nervous. And he tries to warn Carl Winslow, who is also very smart enough to recognize this is a problem, that this is a bad choice. And so Hans tells everybody to get ready. Metal gates come down, trapping Argyle in the basement. And it was the night before Christmas.
Yeah. It was brilliant.
They start shooting at the lights because the plan is the lights are going to give illumination to the cops who are trying to breach the building. And so the terrorists just smartly they shoot out the lights, and then they shoot the cops who are trying to break into the building.
Yeah.
The car. Get the car. Gotta get the car.
It seems the LA Police Department has themselves an RV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to get to your favorite line here, because they bring in like, okay, let's bring in the old ironclad, the whatever this armored vehicle is that's going to help them tactically. But this is what the missiles are for. They use the missiles to obliterate this thing, even after it's probably disabled. Like Hans is like, you shoot it again.
They'll be coming. Everyone get ready. Theo, you are the eyes now.
All right, listen up, guys. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring except the four assholes coming in the rear in standard 2x2 cover formation. Whoa, wait a minute. What have we here, gentlemen? The police have themselves an RV. Southeast corner. Get over there! Oh my God, the quarterback is toast.
The quarterback is toast.
His glee, you know what it is, Rich? We did RoboCop a while back.
Yeah.
This is very similar to some of the like cackling stuff from those guys in that
Absolutely.
movie.
This has I haven't brought it up because I don't want to detract from talking about a little bit. Like, there's a number of things that this movie, which only came out like a year or two after RoboCop, that has a lot of DNA that kind of they share, which is interesting.
Yeah, I thought the same thing as a kid. Like, I remember there was a movie theater near where I grew up, and so I remember every summer they would have a poster for the movie that was coming out the next summer, and so I remember like RoboCop. I remember that poster and seeing Die Hard and being like, these feel like they're in the same world. I know they're not, but they feel like they're in the same world.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, besides just being '80s action movies, there's something to it. Even though one's sci-fi and one isn't, like they have. There's a bond there. I can't put my finger on exactly, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy would like fit in very well with like Clarence Boddicker's gang, like him and like
Sure.
Emil. Because they actually have that guy in that movie. I can't remember the character's name now, but who's like, again, like the one who's giggling all the time.
Right.
That character is fairly similar.
She was sweet. Yeah.
So John gets a fire axe and he opens up the elevator shaft and he straps a bunch of the C4 he found to a chair and puts a computer monitor over it to hold it in place. And Geronimo, motherfucker, he drops this thing down and just an enormous explosion out the base of this building. Which creates a fireball that nearly takes him out.
Yeah. To me, that was the moment when I realized, like, oh, he doesn't know everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what the objective of this was.
Yeah. It's a little dad with the fireworks, like, the July.
My only thought was that maybe this was a way to dispose of the C4 in a way that didn't kill anybody, that you're basically taking munitions out of play. But like he doesn't kill any goons with it. It just harmlessly kind of, I mean, it's a big firework, but it doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just kind of shakes everybody up.
But it's a great movie moment. Just
I guess the point is just to maybe impress upon the police, like, this shit is real and you need to treat it that way.
Right.
So John and Officer Winslow are talking, and Dwayne, that's Gleason's character, tries to take over the conversation.
Al, do you copy?
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What was that?
Remember that plastic explosive I told you about?
Yeah?
There you go. Is the building on fire?
No, but it's gonna need a paint job and a shitload of screen doors. Our spotters say you got two with that blast.
Is that him? Is that him?
Yes,
Give me
sir.
that. Now, you listen to me, mister. I don't know who in the hell you think you are or what you're doing, but you just destroyed a building. Now, we do not want your help. Is that clear? We don't want your help. I've got 100 people down here, and they're covered with glass.
Glass? Who gives a shit about glass? Who the fuck is this?
This is Deputy Chief of Police Dwayne T. Robinson, and I am in charge of this situation.
Oh, you're in charge. Well, I got some bad news for you, Dwayne. From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit.
You listen to me, you little asshole. I'm a...
Asshole? I'm not the one who just got butt-fucked on national TV, Dwayne. Now you listen to me, jerk-off. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Quit being part of the fucking problem and put the other guy back on.
Hey, Roy, how you feeling?
Pretty fucking unappreciated, Al.
Hey, look, I love you. So do a lot of the other guys. So you hang in there, man. You hear me? You hang in there.
Yeah, thanks, partner.
And I love that he tries to big time John McClane, and John McClane is like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. Put Winslow back on.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. You're in charge of jack shit. Pretty good. Once in a while you get the like pissing contest stuff in these movies, and this one's great because like John's the one in the building doing all the work. This guy can go to hell.
Yeah. It's very much it's dad language for me. Like it's like, oh, this is how dads speak. I don't really hit that much. That's how dad spoke. That's how I used to think about it as a kid.
This is what serious people sound like.
Yeah.
But now we're going to go to a very unserious person who is Ellis. And Ellis thinks he's the big shot because he negotiates $1 million deals. And so for breakfast. Yes. He eats pieces of shit like him for breakfast. Which you eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Yeah.
So no, he So he goes to Hans Gruber to like, hey, I can bargain with you. I got something you want. I can give you John McClane.
Look, let's be straight, okay? It's obvious you're not some dumb schmuck up here to snatch a few purses, am I right?
You're very perceptive.
I watch 60 Minutes. I say to myself, these guys are professional, they're motivated, they're happening, i.e. they want something, huh?
You're amazing. You figured this all out already.
Hey, business is business. You use a gun, I use a fountain pen. What's the difference? Am I right? Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
I must have missed 60 Minutes. What are you saying?
I can give them to you. Hey, John Boy. Ellis?
Yeah. Now listen, John. Give me a few minutes to try to talk some sense into you.
I told him we were old friends and you were my guest at the party.
Ellis, you shouldn't be doing this.
Tell me about it.
They want you to tell them what the detonators are. They know people are listening. They want the detonators, or they're gonna kill me.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, John, I think you could get with the program a little, huh? The police are here now. It's their problem. Now tell these guys what the detonators are so no one else gets hurt.
Shut up, Ellis. Just shut your mouth. Put Hans back on the line.
Hey, what am I, a method actor, Hans?
Babe, put away the gun. This is radio, not television. Hans, this asshole is not my friend. I just met him tonight. I don't know him. Jesus Christ, Ellis, these people are gonna kill you. Tell them you don't know me.
John, how can you say that after all these years, huh? John.
But before we get into what's happening with them, we have a nice character beat with John and Carl Winslow as they talk about Twinkies and how many kids they have, all that stuff. And he finally says, well, the cat's out of the bag because Hans comes over the radio and identifies him, doxes him. He's like, okay, John McClane of the NYPD. A special friend wants to talk to you. And Ellis tries to talk John into turning himself in.
Yeah. It's such a you know what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing that John can do.
No. There's a brilliant piece of acting though right before this when he says, "Hey, someone wants to talk to you." You can tell that he thinks it's Holly for a second, and he's scared shitless. And then he's a little like confused and surprised when he hears it's Ellis.
Yeah, great cat.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad you
annoyed,
called that
like,
out.
It's a great catch. It's a great catch. Yeah, it's and yeah, Ellis is just he is a lamb among wolves and has no idea.
I must have missed 60 minutes.
It reminds me a lot. There's a great moment in Breaking Bad where somehow you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but a character is about to die, and Walter White is trying to bargain for the guy's life, and the guy's like, "You're the smartest guy I know, but you're too stupid to see it. He made up his mind 10 minutes ago."
Yeah.
And then he's shot. And like, that's what's happening here. Like, Hans Gruber is like, I'm going to kill this guy the second he walks into his office.
Oh yeah.
He's just waiting to do it. And I love the moment where you see it come over Ellis's face of just like, oh, that he's not going to turn himself in. Wait.
Yeah.
Boom.
I tried.
And then he has a sip of Coke. It's such a pathetic way to get killed, like sipping Coke.
Put the gun away, Hans. This is radio, not television.
Yeah.
Yep.
Such a great scene.
Okay.
So now we get a little more pissing contest between Dwayne and Carl Winslow. And in the middle of that, Hans calls Dwayne and tells him what he finally, we're getting to what he wants, because that's why Dwayne has been skeptical. Like, if there's a terrorist hostage situation, why aren't there any demands? There's no demand for ransom. He doesn't want anything. What is this? So finally we get Hans's demands, and they are ridiculous. He wants the LAPD to negotiate the release of various miscreants around the world, in keeping with this facade that Hans is putting up, that this is somehow politically motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a great smokescreen, because I love that he has like 2 hours to do this too.
Yeah. I just love that I read about them in Time magazine. Like, it's just,
you think they'll try to do it? Who cares?
Who cares? He's not even really trying to, like, it's like a half-ass performance from a really incredible performer.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone buys it, but he's like, eh.
Yep. So there's one lock left, we're told by Theo. He's drilled through the others, and he's not sure how he's going to get through the last one. And I love that Hans Gruber's like, it's Christmas. It's the time of miracles. Go do it.
Christmas movie. It's a
Christmas
damn
movie.
Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
That line would not have worked on the 4th of July. Okay.
Oh.
No. So it's time for Carl Hungus, or whatever his name is, to go find John and get the detonators. And so John calls Winslow, and who again, they talks about this plan to release all of these political prisoners and stuff. And immediately John was like, this is fucking bullshit. There's this doesn't make any sense. And we cut to this thing they do a couple times with this like psychiatrist on the news who's trying to like talk about how the hostages are gonna do. Like, this feels like of a piece with RoboCop too, like this kind of like TV satire stuff.
Right.
Well, and it's another one, they've talked about how the police are idiots. The 911 was being glib about it. And then this guy, he looks like such a tool, like, well, by now they're doing this, and, it's totally not what's happening and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So the FBI is here now to take over this. Finally, they're getting involved, and we meet agents Johnson and Johnson.
You ask for a miracle, Theo, I give you the FBI.
Again, like, great teasing. Like, why would they be happy the FBI is here? How could this possibly help their plan? Like, it's a great, great bit. So yes, as you said before, Rich, it's Robert Davi from the Goonies. He's the Fratelli brother who's not Joe Pantoliano. He's the other one who likes to sing.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other Johnson, who's you said his name before and I've forgotten it.
Grandel Bush.
Thank you. Yes, Grandel Bush. So they're in charge. Hans has gone out to investigate and find John McClane on his own, and he leaves behind in one spot a gun and a flashlight, sets him down, turns a corner, only to come face to face with John. And I love the way this is shot, because so Hans goes into, I'm going to pretend I'm in American mode. I'm like, oh, thank God you found me.
Please, God, no, you're one of them, aren't you? You're one of them. No, don't kill me, please. No, please. Don't kill me, please.
Whoa, relax. Relax. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. The fuck are you doing up here? What were you looking for?
I managed to get out of there, well, I was just trying to get up on the roof and see if I could signal for help, It's just through here. Why don't you come in and help?
Ho.
We go.
Forget the roof.
Come on.
I said forget the roof. They got people all over. Come on, you want to stay alive? You stay with me.
And I love that they keep shooting him from.
You're one of them.
You're one of them.
This accent, by the way, we got this. This is okay. So you have British Alan Rickman playing a German, pretending to be an American, doing an accent that just does not exist in nature.
Layers, man.
Bill Clay.
Those games where you shoot clay.
Red paint.
But between all that, what's great is how this is shot, because they keep shooting from like the area where the gun is, from like way behind, and like just the way it's shot, what Hans is thinking is like, how do I lead him back in this direction so I can shoot him? But he can't break his cover, so John leads him a different direction.
Clay.
Yeah.
Bill. Clay.
Bro. So Dwayne is briefing the FBI, and they want to know more about their man on the inside, John McClane. So we get back to John, and they're having this moment of, they're like sharing a cigarette. Hans asks who he is, and John tells him he was a cop from New York. He got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. This is like, a great like hero meets villain scene.
Yes. I'm John McClane. You're,
Clay. Bill Clay.
You know how to use a handgun, Bill?
I spent a weekend at a combat ranch. You know that game with the guns that shoot red paint? Probably seems kind of stupid to you.
Well, time for the real thing, Bill. All you gotta do is pull the trigger. Come on.
33. Stockwerk. Kommt. Sofort. Put down the gun. And give me my detonators.
Well. Hans.
Put it down now.
Really
it's great in terms of character building. There's a lot of efficiency, again, in terms of moving the plot forward. Like, this is one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
it
yeah.
really is. Yeah.
That smile he has, I mean, it's like, the lighting's weird. It's a Dutch angle. It's just, it looks crooked as hell, and it's really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene. I love it's I mean, it's operatic, right? It's just like, it's so good versus evil, right?
Yeah.
But these two are also subverting that genre. And so I remember watching this and this being like, the scene was so exciting. It still is, but as a kid, I was just like, this is He-Man and Skeletor. I love this shit.
Yeah.
And they're both playing to the top of their intelligence, right? So like Hans takes note of the fact that John is barefoot. He's like going to put that away for later. John, John definitely knows who this is. Like he doesn't, the audience doesn't catch on that quickly, which is great. But he gives him, he says, here, take my handgun so you can defend yourself. You know how to shoot this thing, right? Well, goes through the whole routine, only to find, he walks past, Hans pulls the gun on him, and we think, oh no, he got the drop on him, only to find out, of course, it's not loaded.
Right.
Brilliant.
Yeah. What do you think? I'm stupid, Hans? No bullets.
Whoops.
So goons arrive. There's a firefight. John escapes again.
Yeah.
Into there's this computer room. Like there's this room of just glass cubicles and stuff. And this is where Hans goes, okay, shoot all the glass.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
Yeah.
So I think they leave him there.
Yeah, because
they get the detonators and they're out. They don't care about killing John McClane. Carl wants to get his revenge, but Hans is like, nope, you're not going to do that. Follow orders. We got work to do. And Holly says she knows John is still alive because only he would make somebody that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great line.
All right, so John drags himself to the bathroom with his poor bloody feet. This is this looks you feel this when you watch it. That his bleeding, cut up feet.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, when I, don't fully understand, I'm old enough to know, all right, this is fake. And I was just like, they get somebody stunt feet? Like, how did they do this? It's so brutal. It's so visceral.
Yeah. I mean, the floor appears to be covered with broken glass. Like, even if it's a stuntman, he's got to get across all that barefoot. Like, it's, yeah, this is shot so perfectly. Like, you buy that, like, his feet are just absolutely shredded.
Yeah. And you know, they're little bits. Like, he got the big bits, but it's those little
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So we find out that the electromagnetic lock is the last one, and they need to somehow disable that to get into the safe where the money is. So John has found his way to some kind of a locker room or a bathroom or something, and he's trying to tape up his feet as best he can. And he has a call with Officer Winslow, and we find out why Officer Winslow works a desk job.
Shot a kid.
Hey, John. John McClane, you still with us?
Yeah. But all things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. Chalk up 2 more bad guys.
Well, the boys down here will be glad to hear that. You know we got a pool going on you.
What kind of odds am I getting?
You don't want to know.
Put me down for 20. I'm good for it. Hey, pal. You got flat feet?
What the hell are you talking about, man?
Something had to get you off the street.
What's the matter? You don't think jockeying papers across a desk is a noble effort for a cop?
No.
I had an accident.
The way you drive, I can see why. What'd you do? Run over your captain's foot with the car?
I shot a kid. He was 13 years old. Oh, it was dark. I couldn't see him. He had a ray gun, looked real enough. You know, when you're a rookie, they can teach you everything about being a cop except how to live with a mistake. Anyway, I just couldn't bring myself to draw my gun on anybody again.
Yeah, it's another great backstory. Just like instantly humanizes this guy who you already love. Now he has layers.
Yeah.
Well, so this is something we joked about last time, Tarik, which is this movie a sequel or a prequel to Family Matters? Because my theory was this is a sequel to Family Matters, and the kid with the ray gun that he shot was Urkel. And he had to come out here because, I mean, who else would be holding a ray gun? You know, like that's a very Urkel thing to do. So yeah, now he's hiding out in LA.
I think it's a prequel. I think this is like he was in LA, got a promotion, made some money, took his family to Chicago, and then was tormented by the reincarnation of Hans Gruber through Urkel.
Or just that, yeah, Steve Urkel, he hates him so much because he reminds him of the kid he shot.
Right.
Yeah. And he says he doesn't want to ever have to draw a gun on anybody again, which is why he took the test job.
Yeah.
He also lets John know, unfortunately, that the LAPD is no longer calling the shots. It's now the FBI, which John is very concerned about because he knows what's about to happen, which is that the FBI, per their predictable playbook, cuts the power to the building, which is fine in terms of trying to maybe stop a terrorist cell, but unfortunately that disables the lock, the last one that opens the door to the money. And I love the music cue here because Christmas movie, they bring in joyful,
yeah,
as they walk in and raid this thing of money. It's the great use of Christmas music in this movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and the MacGuffin pays off. Like when that sliding lock and you see all that money and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. And so now the plan is the FBI is going to call in some helicopters to hope. The plan, I think, is to either take them out with the helicopters or use them to transport the hostages off the roof. But that's the next plan, is they're going to send in helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
And Hans's plan is to get all the hostages up to the roof and the helicopters there and blow it the fuck up, which will kill everybody. And in the commotion, they will slip out the bottom of the building unseen. That's the plan.
Yeah. It's a good plan.
Mhm.
If you're a psychopath.
Yep.
Yeah.
So John calls Carl Winslow one last time. He's now shirtless. Feet are bleeding. And he just tells Winslow, tell my wife, tell my wife I love her, basically. Tell her I'm sorry for being a fuck up.
Yeah.
Pal. Yo, pal, you got a minute?
I'm here, John.
Listen, man, I'm starting to get a bad feeling up here. I want you to do something for me. I want you to find my wife. Don't ask me how. By then, you'll know how. I want you to tell her something. I want you to tell her that... tell her it took me a while to figure out what a jerk I've been. But, that when things started to pan out for her, I should have been more supportive. And, I just should have been behind her more. Oh, shit. Tell her that she's the best thing that ever happened to a bum like me. She's heard me say I love you 1,000 times. She never heard me say I'm sorry.
She's heard me say I love her 1,000 times. She's never heard me say I'm sorry.
Yep.
And it's a great performance. Like, again, your typical action movie before this, you don't see the hero. You'll see the hero like beat up and at a low point, but not emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
Again, this is something Bruce Willis brings to the table that maybe a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get to this quick scene of Atherton trying to talk to the McLean kids in their home, and he threatens to call immigration on the housekeeper.
Yeah. What a douche.
It's shitty, but he also says something which is unfortunately true, which is this might be their last chance to speak to their parents.
Sure.
Right.
Pretty grim. So John limps back to the spot where he had initially met up with Beryl Clay, because he's trying to figure out what was it that Hans was doing in this area. Why was he here in the first place? And he finds all the C4 that was wired to the roof, and he tries to tell Carl Winslow about this, but Carl Hungus now has him at gunpoint, and a fight ensues.
Oh yeah.
Brutal.
The most knockdown drag out of the movie.
Yeah, really is. I would love to see that choreographed like that. Like how they figured out, all right, and this, and then, I'm going to chain you up, and then you're going to hang you, and then swing you over here, and, I'm like, it's so, and they both have a valid gripe, and fight differently, even though they're fighting sloppily. I see how, McLean's a street fighter, right?
Yeah.
German guy is a little bit more precise, but he's angry, so he's losing it more, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. While this is happening, the McLean kids are on the news. Hans Gruber sees that, and he also notices the family photo in Holly's office and puts it together. Okay, she is Mrs. McLean, and he calls her over and demands that everyone but her go up to the roof. And so Johnson & Johnson are now approaching the roof. They're talking about, well, maybe we'll lose 25% of the hostages tops.
What do you figure? The breakage? Figure we take out the terrorists, lose 20-25% of the hostages. Tops. I can live with that. Keep this thing on the deck. They're expecting transports, not gunships.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I can live with that.
I was in middle school, dickhead.
Oh, God. This is just like fucking Saigon, slick.
Like again, like you get to find out who these guys are, and
Yeah.
it's just a lesson movie. They would just be cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
Right. And this is still, by the way, cut against John and Carl Hungus fighting. So like Hans Gruber tries to call Carl to tell him something, and he can't get through because they're in the middle of a fight. And the bonds are being packed up, and Holly has this great moment with Hans where he calls him a common thief, and he says, I'm an exceptional thief. And since I'm moving up to kidnapping, you should be more polite. Like, it's so great, these two.
It's the only time he loses his cool.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like he's mischaracterized as what kind of criminal he is.
John wins the fight against Carl by hanging him from a chain and then pushing him over. So that takes him off the board. So that gives John the leeway to get up to the roof, warn everybody not to get blowed up, which they won't listen to him. So he just starts firing a gun wildly to scare them down from the roof, which works. But then the cops start firing on him, and he has to make a break for it, which he does by grabbing a fire hose, using it to rappel down the side of Nakitomi Plaza. And then he has to bust out a glass window with a combination of his gun and his already very damaged feet.
Yeah, it's such a... I mean, I think this film also taught me physics. Like, I'm like... Because he doesn't just break through the glass after rappelling using the fire hose. And I remember being like, asking my dad, I was like, why wouldn't he just... It's glass. And my dad's like, it's thick glass.
Yeah.
And he has to shoot it, and then it leads to like another favorite moment of the weight of the fire hose becomes a problem. Like everything is an issue for this guy.
Yeah.
And that moment of sheer terror, it's almost like the first time you see McClane actually terrified by what's going on. It's like that. It's great acting.
And the way they shoot this movie and a lot of other like skyscraper type action movies do this too, but just like the fear of heights. Like I don't think I have an exceptional fear of heights. I have a respectful fear of heights. But man, they show these angles and dangling from just barely getting the window, and it's just like I know he's gonna survive seeing this movie 50 times, but I still get a little like ugh.
Yeah, his feet slip, the blood slipping off the glass, and like having to push off, and it's just like, there are multiple times I would have given up.
Yeah.
I would be dead. Yeah, I am not the one-man army to take down this group.
Yeah. Bold of me to think I would have gotten that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the explosion takes out the chopper with Johnson & Johnson. Those crash to the ground in the front of Nakatomi Plaza. And John makes his way back into kind of that main room where the party was, and it's pretty wrecked now. And he's kind of like in this big water feature that's in the middle of it. And he is making his way towards where Holly and Hans are arguing. Meanwhile, Argyle gets his time to shine because he sees the truck being loaded in the basement of the building. And as it tries to take off, actually, the truck doesn't take off. An ambulance comes out the back of it, which is their great disguised getaway vehicle. But they didn't count on Argyle, who just rams the shit out of this thing with his limo, and then he runs up and punches Theo out.
Yeah.
One punch.
Yep.
One punch. Yeah. It's such a cathartic moment. You're like, get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because like Argyle hasn't got I think in another action movie they would have to try and find crowbar things for Argyle to do into the middle of it. And like, no, he'll stay down there and he'll have his one moment, and that's his arc. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tech guy, it doesn't need to be like a shootout between them. It's just, all right, yeah, he's out. He'll be arrested.
Yep. And he's the only one, I think. He might be the only one who actually lives through this ordeal.
It would have been his revenge would have made a great sequel.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So as John is now approaching where Hans, Holly, and the last goon, who was the guy who was pretending to be the guard at the bottom of the building, John looks down. He's only got 2 bullets, but he sees some duct tape. And we don't know what he's going to do with that just yet. But he calls out for him, Hans!
Yeah, it's so great.
Yep.
So that's what this is all about? Fucking robbery?
Put down the gun.
Why'd you have to nuke the whole building, Hans?
Well, when you steal $600, you can just disappear. When you steal 600 million, they will find you unless they think you're already dead. Put down the gun.
Mine, this is mine. You got me.
Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean, Americans, all alike. Well, this time John Wayne does not walk off into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
It's Gary Cooper, asshole.
Enough jokes.
You made a pretty good cowboy yourself, Hans.
Oh, yes. What was it you said to me before? Yippie-Kay-Yay, motherfucker.
And Hans has Holly at gunpoint, and I love that he calls him. That's what this was all about—a robbery. It's it's a nice kind of counterpoint to the more like sedate counterpoint we've had between these characters before.
Yeah.
This is where it gets more visceral, and I love that like he starts making like dumb cowboy jokes, and Hans tells him to he just starts laughing. Like all this is great until we figure out what he's doing, which is he's got the loaded gun taped behind his back, because you knew if he approached, they're going to say, give us your gun immediately, which he does. He throws them the machine gun that he has, which is empty anyway.
Right.
And doesn't reveal the other 2 guns. So
it's a brilliant move. Like, I'm always like, ooh. Like every time I've seen the movie, I don't know how many times I'm always like, ooh.
You can solve everything with duct tape.
And Christmas. And it's also it's Christmas wrap.
Oh.
Right.
On his back.
Nice.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
And so he pulls the guns out from where they're duct taped behind him, the Yippie-Kay-Yay motherfucker, and fires 2 bullets, one into the guard and one into Hans, who falls backwards out the window, gripping onto Holly. And so they're both dangling. Yeah. And so John comes, he grabs Holly, and Hans is like, I love this, like super slow-mo as he's bringing his gun slowly to point towards the camera, which we understand would be directly at John. And at the last moment, the watch that he is clinging to is loosed, causing him to fall. Do you know the bit about how they did this shot? I think Tarik.
About how they released him. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Tarik. I'm going to tell the story because it's amazing.
The stuntman said, we're going to release you on the count of 3, and Alan Rickman was all ready to be released on the count of 3, and then 1, and then he got released. So the expression you see in Hans Gruber's face is the actual expression that Alan Rickman gave, and it's just a great, he stayed in character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great villain death. Like, I mean, how many times have you seen a villain fall a long distance to their death? I think this might be the best one.
I just saw, I just saw like a movie I hadn't seen in a long time, Mercury Rising, also with Bruce Willis. Alec Baldwin's the heavy in that one, and they're on top of a building, and Alec Baldwin has the fall. It's nowhere. It's just like, it's not going into the Villain Hall of Fame.
No. There's another thing that RoboCop has in common, though, because the big bad has the fall at the very end. Of course, he also has the weird arms thing, which we thankfully don't get in Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yes, the
My
giant
theory
Dick
was
Jones
always
arms.
like in that moment he was like revealing that he was an alien, and that's like bad right before it jumped the shark.
I think the key to that, like you said, Tarik, like we've seen this a million times. Why does this work so well? Part of it's the investment in the characters that we've made up to this point in the movie. The other thing is, I think that choice, like that slow-mo shot of the gun coming into view. When I say it's slower than your average slow-mo. So there's something about it. It's like it feels unnatural, and it also feels almost inevitable. Like he's going to shoot you in the face. There's something about the timing of that really makes it work.
But it's also a cornered tiger. Like he's still malicious. As my dad would say, still a bastard, right? Like, at his demise. Like if I'm going, I'm taking y'all with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's great.
And he falls. There's the shots of like the bearer bonds just fluttering to the ground. Again, his ill-gotten gains, just out of reach. But we still get a great line. Someone says, "I hope that's not a hostage," because they show him fall like all the way down.
Yeah,
they just don't show ground level where splattering happens.
Yeah,
it's a great, because I don't know how they did that, but it looks real. Like it's well done.
Really well done. Great stunt work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So John and Holly kiss. We get to the base of the tower now, where like news vans are arriving. And we get is the bromance moment as John and Holly walk out and they see Carl Winslow and he sees them.
Alan's my wife, Holly Gennaro.
Holly McClain.
Hello, Holly. You got yourself a good man. You take good care of him.
McClain? Yeah, it's okay. McClain, I want a debrief. I want a debriefing. You got some things to answer for, mister.
Ellis was murdered for one thing. Property damage. Interfering with police business.
So this is how you know it's a Christmas movie, because I'm not ashamed of that. When John sees Carl and they see each other, I get a little misty.
Hell yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
A little misty.
No, it's a beautiful moment, especially when knowing what we now know about Carl Winslow and his past and stuff. Like he's about to redeem himself one more time, because like a horror movie, they give us one little scare as like Carl pops up out of nowhere, still alive,
like with his gun.
Yep.
Yeah, looking like a zombie.
Mm-hmm. And Carl Winslow is the hero to put a couple of bullets in him and take him down. And so he is redeemed.
Almost takes out Argyle as Argyle busts through the garage.
Right.
Yeah. Little character arc for him.
Yep. So his character arc is complete. William Atherton comes over to ask, how they're feeling, what's going on, and he gets again a well-deserved punch in the face.
Did you get that?
Yep. And they said, if this is LA's idea of what Christmas is like, I got to be here for New Year's, and let it snow.
Yeah,
let it snow.
And it's off to having Christmas dinner and dessert. No, it's probably dessert after this movie. And then bedtime. Like that was the holidays for me. Still is. I love this movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're here at the end of the podcast, and I'll throw it out to you guys. We know why this movie endures. I think in terms of its legacy, its impact on subsequent action movies, cannot be overstated. Like just tremendous impact of this on all the subsequent action movies. So let's talk about what makes this a Christmas classic.
To me, a Christmas movie is a Christmas movie if Christmas is a necessary part of the plot. And the whole reason why John McClane was in Los Angeles was because it was a Christmas party, right? And not to mention all the songs and the little quips and the ho 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 and all that stuff. But it takes place at Christmas, but it's necessary for it to. And it makes me think. I mean, above anything else, it makes me think of Christmas. When you say Christmas, what do you think of? Die Hard's going to be in my top 5 things that I think of.
Yeah, agreed. I would also been thinking about this as we've been doing this podcast. I feel like there was a family tree of Christmas movies, and you put what's the Jimmy Stewart?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Wonderful Life. I think right under Wonderful Life you get Die Hard, because the themes are very similar about greed and how greed and materialism, consumerism can tear up a family.
Yep.
And what the patriarch's role, quote unquote, role is supposed to be, right? Like Jimmy Stewart and It's a Wonderful Life is going to kill himself. There's no angel. McClane is also the avenging angel, but in this film, like, he has to come to terms. Like, that moment where he's vulnerable is also a moment of him confronting his toxic masculinity and like how it's ruined his marriage. It served him as a cop, and it's serving him killing these terrorists, but that's not what he's about. He's there because he actually wants to connect with his wife and his family again. And it takes a Scrooge to bring Gennaro and McClane together.
Nice.
I think the answer is, this is definitely a Christmas movie, and the proof is Die Hard 2 is set at Christmas. There's a, it almost felt like they couldn't do this without Christmas. It's an intrinsic part of the formula. Now, eventually, of course, for the latter 3 sequels, they break away from that, but
and there are lesser films for it.
I think so. Like, I mean, I love Die Hard 3. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
Also directed by John McTiernan, which is probably why it is the best of the Die Hard sequels.
Oh,
yeah. Also, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
But
yeah. And the character of New York City, right? You get to see how McClane works in his environment.
Jeremy Irons is also pretty good big bad, too.
Oh,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah. He's Scar,
I would
for
like to
God's
make
sakes.
his withdrawal.
So those are good, but I think, as you said, the Christmas element, it's additive. It really makes this movie special because it amongst all of the other things that make it special, it does have this extra thing where it's like, yeah, it is about family coming together in a weird way, and as you said, like materialism and the deleterious impacts of that. Like, that is also part of the DNA of this movie, to the point where, like, you don't think of a song like Let It Snow as like, yeah, man, that's a badass song to go out of your action movie on. Usually, especially in this era, an action movie would end with Will Smith rapping to you about what you just saw. That's how an action movie had to end back then. They would rap the plot to you. And instead we get, this Bing Crosby classic. And
I think John McTiernan knows how to end an action movie. You either end it with a Christmas jingle, or you end it like a sitcom and have all the actors turn the camera and smile. Like
that is the Predator ending for people who don't know. Yeah,
it's my favorite ending of all movies. I fucking love it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much for this Christmas present. I'm glad we got to talk about Die Hard. I'm glad we got the two of you guys onto the show. So, Rich, if people want to find your stuff, where do they find it?
If you're interested in corporate training, team building, go to playlikeateam.com. If you're interested in improv classes, go to richbakercoaching.com.
Tarik, same question. Where do they find your good works?
You can find me at tarikdavis.com. I am Exodus off of the Twitter space, but you can find me at BlueSky at Tarik Davis, Tarik Davis, and name handles with Instagram and TikTok.
There you go. And so if you want to get in touch with us, we're on all the major social networks, although I'm still up in the air about how much time I want to spend on X, nay, Twitter as well. But yes, we're also on BlueSky and Threads, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I will say, if you want to know what's coming up next on the show, please subscribe to our Instagram or Facebook pages. That's where I post clues every Wednesday as to what the next episode is going to be. So you can guess it's going to be something about Christmas this time. But yeah, that's generally how you find about that stuff. If you're so inclined, please do give us a review wherever you found this on iTunes or wherever you may be getting your podcast from, because those reviews actually do a lot to boost the algorithm and therefore the podcast visibility to others. Also helpful, word of mouth. Please tell folks you liked it. If you didn't like it, not so much the word of mouth thing. Keep it to yourself. But that'll do it for this. Oh, and also, again, we'll put a link. Tarik, send me the link so people can find stuff about your short film. Because
I'll send you. It'll definitely be up by the time this podcast up, so I'll send you that link.
Great. So yeah, guys, just go over to the notes and click on that so you can check that out. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for another great episode. Yippee-Kay-Yay, motherfuckers! And until next time, that is one more entry in the Nostalgia Arcana.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. The fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbye.
And now, Adam West High School Choir's original Christmas song, Die Hard. I see those looks. Yes, the movie was originally released in summer, but it took place on Christmas Eve, which makes it a Christmas film.
Die hard, die hard, John McClane and his wife. Yippie-Kay-Yay. Yippie-Kay-Yay.